Nebraska is in the market for a head coach after the dismissal of Mike Riley, who was fired on Saturday, hours after the Cornhuskers completed their worst season since 1961. Riley, brought in from Oregon State to replace Bo Pelini, went 19-19, 12-14 Big Ten in 3 years. Nebraska faces a crucial juncture, having failed to make much of an impression so far as a Big Ten member. The school hired athletic director Bill Moos in October largely in order to get this hire right. College football reporters Andrea Adelson and Mitch Sherman join me on ESPN's search firm to dissect the Nebraska situation. It's clear who is at the top of Nebraska's list: Coach Scott Frost, a former Huskers quarterback and Wood River, Nebraska, native. But is Nebraska as high on Frost's list of potential suitors? There's plenty to discuss about this once elite job and the other candidates who will be in play in case Frost doesn't return to Lincoln. Adam Rittenberg, a program that had incredible success in the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s has clearly fallen off but still has great resources. Nebraska is in a very winnable division, the Big Ten West. The Huskers have new leadership with Bill Moos. But the question remains, how good of a job is this for potential candidates? Mitch Sherman, it's still a good job. It's not the job that it once was, and it never will be. Nebraska is in a unique spot in that it has so much history and so much that the fans remember, and I think it has become a hindrance for this program. Nebraska has different expectations than any other school in the Big Ten West, and it has resources on par with or better than any school in the Big Ten West, but its recent history is a far cry from any of the top teams. That creates a tenuous spot for Moos. He's learning very quickly about what Nebraska fans desire. I don't go along with the stereotype that it's 1995 again or bust, but in comparison to Wisconsin, to Iowa, and certainly to everyone else in Nebraska's division, the power players around this program have an expectation that is higher. Andrea Adelson, I hear similar things to what people were saying about the Miami Hurricanes. In the 1980s and 1990s, Miami and Nebraska were both dominant, they were winning championships, there was a rivalry. And then they couldn't find ways to win. Miami had different problems, NCAA investigations, but a lot of people were asking that same question: could Miami ever be back? From what we've seen this season from Miami, with the right coach, yes, Nebraska can win again. It isn't in the same place as Miami with the natural recruiting base, so it's going to be a little bit harder, but they have resources there. They probably have better facilities than Miami does, and they have this history and tradition, which Miami has used to its advantage under Mark Richt. The perfect head coach would get Nebraska back to a spot where it's competing for championships. Rittenberg, the recruiting element for Nebraska has changed a lot in the Big Ten. A lot of coaches tell me it's harder for Nebraska to recruit now because it doesn't have a natural tie to Texas. They're not going to play games there every season.